Hello, you beautiful individuals. Today, I'm going to be looking at another Matt Walsh video. I'm reacting to a Matt Walsh react, so that's, something, I guess. Really, it's because, the last one, man, I just had a fair amount of comments from people that obviously like Matt Walsh quite a lot, which I understand. And I want to say that right off the bat here. If you're a Matt Walsh fan and I've offended you, I don't actually care, but actually listen to what I say in this video because I've seen a fair amount of his content now, and even though I don't agree with 99% of what he stands for, I just don't, and I will disagree with him vocally, and I think he can be rather, I don't want to say ignorant because he's doing it on purpose. So like he's obviously an intelligent person and he's a fantastic entertainer. He is. And he's a great YouTube content creator. I mean, he makes very high quality content. He's very funny. He's very charismatic. I mean, he's I get it. I do. That being said, I don't like his content just because I personally don't agree with it. That's just where my biases lay. It's what I believe, and yeah. So I will vocally still speak out against it, but understand I don't blame anyone for liking Matt Walsh, finding his videos, and then also starting to think that way because that's usually what happens. Most people grow up to become what we, consumed. Like the media and our families and friends around us and all the idealism of everyone, throughout our life, teachers, other parents, other random adults that you see here and there that you hear talking. You don't have to actually talk to them, of course, and all that, and especially media and our age group and even younger, obviously. Um, that that really influences who we become. And obviously, I grew up. My parents were not, Democratic or Republican, and I also consider myself in that camp. Um, my dad was definitely more conservative, and my mom more liberal, I would say. But they both definitely voted for, Republicans and Democrats. They both have voted, on both sides of the camp, depending on who it was. I want to say Bush. They voted for Bush. They also voted for Obama. I don't know actually with Trump and them because I by that point I'm a proper adult and had other stuff going on, so I didn't really. I don't think we ever got into it. We never really talked about politics a lot. Like we never. I that wasn't a big thing in our house. Politics, religion, all of that. Um, it wasn't a big thing at all. Like we we did talk about history. My dad was definitely more interested in history. My mom more interested in like sciences and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, no, we we just didn't talk a lot about that at all. So I didn't really grow up surrounded by a lot of politics. I mean, I went to a very small public school. Like I said in the previous video, I graduated with less than 40 people. Very tiny. And a very small rural. God, I struggle with that word. I should cut it out and say it better, but I don't know. Fuck it. Um, a very, small town with conservative ideals, heavily rooted into it. I mean, hell, it wasn't even that long ago. It was when one of my favorite teachers. I mean, he was fantastic history teacher. He loved history. I mean, passionate about it. He was actually an archaeologist too, on the side. He also had a local, like area, history class that talked about the area our schools in, and we grew up in the county and state and stuff. And he told us about how when he was a kid, like he would see, clan members up on top hill burning across and stuff. It was just normal thing. He is obviously older, you know, so this was a fair amount of time ago. And I'm older myself. So I mean, when he told me this, this was 15 years ago probably. No, I'm not super old. I'll be 30 in a year. Oh God. But anyway, yeah. That being said, that was a long intro and ramble. I just want that out there that like I don't, even though I don't care if I offend you, I truly could give a crap. I also don't want you to think that if you like Matt Walsh, that I don't want you watching my videos or want you commenting. I do. Like if you're a fan of Matt Walsh especially, I want you to. I mean, I want you to tell me why I'm wrong. I want to have a discussion. I'm gonna make a video soon about some of the comments I've been getting, not just from this, but from like the Ken Hovind, Ken Ham videos and stuff like that, because they're just like you have amazing people. This one guy, I'm genuinely I'm gonna look him up. Give me 1 second. Okay, I found him. He commented on one of my video. I genuinely, this is a compliment to him. I hope you don't take this wrong. Bradley Tenderholt, I think is how you would say that. He commented on my something video. Basically, the reason I bring it up is because it was a very solid just criticism, basically saying that I talk too much in the videos, which I mean, after this like half an hour intro, I'm definitely not showing him that I'm trying to improve. But he means like stopping the video too much, which I get. And I told him that, and yeah, he understood, and it was cool. Those comments are fantastic. I love them. At the same time, I love when you get these just ignorant, like belligerent, fully on the other side people that have to like just straight up insult you, which I know I insult people too, obviously. I get that. I don't care. I like it. I if you look at the comments, I pretty much always reply. I mean, there might be a few, and if I haven't replied to, I've just missed. But I will most likely get to them eventually. Or they were nonsense, and like it just literally made no sense, or in a different language, and it didn't translate right or something. That could be something else, I guess. But that being said, let's go on to this. Matt Walsh's react to TickToks, and yeah, we'll just get into it and I'll let it go. I'm gonna try to uphold Bradley's criticism and truly not intervene as much in the video. And yeah, and no, never mind, let's just go.
Today we check in with the fat community over at TickTock.
All right, I'm sorry. I know I stopped at 8 seconds in. That was a genuine laughter. Like, that's the thing. He is actually funny. I mean, he's an asshole. And his thinking is, in my opinion, a little messed up and outdated. I mean, it's 2022, but either way, I mean, there has been so many videos of his that I've watched, like, to, figure out what to respond to. This one, by the way, I literally just went with his newest video. That wasn't a short, like a proper actual video. But yeah, I've watched a lot. I wanted to get to know him and get to see his thinking, or at least his persona. I mean, I don't know if this is actually how he thinks, but he might be the complete opposite of this. Like, this is a persona for all I know. I don't. I'm merely reacting and probably slightly attacking the persona that I see on the screen in front of me. Whether that be him in real life or not, I don't know. Does that mean that I dislike him? No. I would 100% go and get a drink with him and argue with him all night. And I don't know about him, but I would have a great time. I love to argue, and I imagine he does as well. So honestly, that being said, though, yeah, I don't agree with what he says. Anyway, he is funny though.
A realm that we may call TickTock. That's actually my producer Sean's joke. Now, as the host of the show, it's my God-given right to steal the joke without credit. I can steal any joke I hear around here because it's mine. That's the way it goes. But I've decided to forego that privilege and give credit where it's due in this case. So there it is, TickTock. Anyway, we'll start with one recent viral video from a fat activist, and then perhaps we'll continue down the TickTock rabbit hole and see what else we may find. Here it is.
I'm going to prove to you why white people are the reason I'm fat today.
Okay. Now, disclaimer ahead of time. I have not watched this video, and I have not watched the any of the videos I'm assuming that he's reacting to in here. I don't actually watch TikTok. I used to, but I just kind of fell out of it. It just got real repetitive to me. And I mean, there's still definitely a lot of them I'll watch. Like if I see them, on other social media apps or on YouTube or whatever. They're still very entertaining things. I just don't go through and scroll for hours on end like I used to. I mean, don't have the time as much anymore either. But anyway, back to this. Why white people are the reason you're fat? I seriously, I really hope this is a joke, because otherwise you're a fucking moron. Like, what? And that's nothing, whatever Matt Walsh says here. I mean, honestly, I'm going to assume that he's probably, this might be something I agree with him with, this particular moment in this video, because unless she pulls it around here and makes this into some kind of joke, this lady is something else.
If white people didn't go looking for spices, then various sea routes to Indian subcontinent and Africa and other places of the world would not get discovered. And if they didn't get discovered, then East India Company would never come to Indian subcontinent. And if they didn't come, then the fertility of the land would not get destroyed, because they forced us to cultivate tobacco and dyes and opioid, things like that, and that destroyed the fertility of my country. And then if that didn't happen, and if they didn't exploit and extract resources until my ancestors were left with nothing to eat, we wouldn't move to this grain heavy, very little nutritious diet that we have today. Also, if white people didn't come to the Indian subcontinent, then my ancestors would not go through 50 small, medium, large famines in a period of 200 years. That's a lot. And in 1943, nearly 3 million people would not have died due to starvation and malnutrition. And if that didn't happen, then this entire place and the people of this place would not adapt to survive on lower calories.
Okay, there's an ad coming, so I'm going to skip that. But first, I am going to say a few things. One, fair enough. Not why you're fat or whatever, which I don't consider her fat. I mean, you're bigger or whatever, but I don't know. I don't consider you. I don't know. When I use the word fat, I mean like properly obese. Like it's bad for freaking 4, 5, 600 pounds like that. That's when I start using the word fat. But I don't know. Regardless, that doesn't matter. She's still an idiot. Here's why. Sure to all of that, but even if white people wouldn't have done it, one of the many variations there are out there, I mean, someone would have, or your government would have, or it could have at least. Like that to try to, like, all that is horrible. I'm not disagreeing with that. Like, we humans in general, white people, all of them, like, the entirety of the human race sucks. And throughout history, sucked way worse back in the day. And the farther you go back, pretty much the suckier they were. So, I don't know. I don't comprehend how you're linking this to why you're fat today. I get what you're saying. I get what you're trying to correlate. But provided you don't have any health issues, you can still go on a walk and exercise and eat properly. But once again, I don't consider her fat at all. Like, is she probably whatever, like not on the BMI index thing? Yeah, probably not. I'm not. And quite frankly, I'm not fat at all. I'm rather skinny. I mean, I'm, lanky. I'm 6'5" and like, I don't know, just hair over 200 pounds. I'm not, I'm not like massively muscle and ripped or nothing by any means, but I'm definitely not fat or chubby. I'm just some whatever lanky freaking freak. But her, I don't consider her fat. I don't know, but it's for her to say that's why she's fat. It's just so insane to me. I can't. I don't know. To me, she's ignorant. But let's. I'm gonna skip this ad and then. Well, let's get to the ad. Okay. Okay. So we're back. I had to skip that stupid ad, and Matt Walsh is about. He actually ended it right there, which was perfect. It seemed like she was gonna go on a little bit, which I don't know if he does let it, but I wish he would have because I wanted to see what else she was gonna say. Maybe it didn't though. Maybe that's where it ended. I don't. I couldn't really tell by the video. Um, but yeah, let's see what Matt says.
Okay, I didn't realize that was a 45-minute clip. But
I'm sorry to stop it so quick. Like for real though, halfway through that, I was like, how long is this clip? And it's not that long. We're only 2 minutes in, but it seemed like that clip went on forever.
But it's a fun game, I have to admit. It's like the self-victimizing version of 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Just take some negative aspect of yourself that you don't want to take responsibility for, and then find a way to cast the blame as far away from yourself as possible.
Yeah. I can't disagree with him. That is what she's doing. Like she's doesn't like her weight, obviously, and she is linking that to this horrific thing that happened. Way in the past, way before even her parents were most likely born. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That's she's to me she's an idiot. Like I got nothing else other than that, man. She's just hopefully it was more satire, like she was making it kind of a joke. Because like I said, she's not fat, so I don't know.
I can do this too. For instance, I tend to be impatient and at times ill-tempered, I admit. It's not my fault though. It can actually be traced directly back to Alexander the Great's invasion of Persia in 334 BC.
Now, see, his example is obviously extreme, but that is essentially what she's doing. Like that's the same thing. Like he is obviously very ill-tempered and whatever. But again, that is part of, to me at least, what makes him entertaining. I mean, I don't. Once again, I'm not a fan of his. I'm not subscribed to his channel. I do not agree with him. But at the end of the day, he is an entertainer who is very entertaining, and I can't deny that. So yeah, he. I'll give him that. It's spot on. I mean, that's what she's doing. So far, I mean, here we go. Finally found something we agree on, I guess. How weird.
I'll need to do some research on Wikipedia to connect all the dots, but I'm sure there's a way to do it.
Oh my God. See, it's the things like that. Like his jokes are so stupid, but they make me laugh. They're like amazing dad jokes. Is how I can describe them. Kudos.
Actually, in this woman's case, you might compare it more to it's sort of like a butterfly effect, but for fatness. So a butterfly flaps its wings 700 miles away, sets off a chain of causation that eventually ends with this girl eating a cheeseburger. Although here, in a rather extraordinary feat of deflection, she has punted responsibility actually out of this century, halfway across the previous millennium. Imagine the mental gymnastics required to be in the process of devouring like a Cinnabon while thinking to yourself, this is all Vasco da Gama's fault. Damn you, Vasco. Meanwhile, there is, as always, an obvious contradiction at work here. On the one hand, we're told that fat is beautiful, fat is good, fat is healthy, fat is desirable. On the other hand, it's also very important for us to believe that fat people are fat through no fault of their own. So it's like, this is good, but it's not my fault. Well, if it's beautiful and good, then why would you not want to take credit for it? In fact, if white people made this girl fat, then shouldn't she be thanking us, given that fat is beautiful? We made you beautiful. You're welcome. Which is it, is my question. You have to choose. Pick a lane.
And that I don't know. I wouldn't say I agree, but I definitely don't disagree. See, the issue is, I believe in the, like, whatever, body positivity, I guess. I'm all about it. I am. I want everyone to be happy and healthy and comfortable in their own skin. And like I said about her, I don't think she's fat. I don't think she needs to lose weight. If she wants to for herself, for personal, image and that, there's nothing wrong with that. But as long as she's healthy and happy, then, ah, I mean, she's perfectly fine, beautiful human being. But the moment, you start linking things like that and then blaming an entire, like, not even ethnicity of people, an entire just skin color of people, she should have went into more detail, to be fair. But I get it. The video is long enough. Yeah, I don't know. To me, she's an idiot. That's all I really got. Like, sorry to keep repeating it, but yeah. And I would say for this particular clip, I agree with Matt. And I agree with his take. I mean, she's being ridiculous.
Either it's bad and it's not my fault, or it's good, in which case the blame game makes no sense. Let's watch the next one.
Fat shaming and skinny shaming are the same.
Actually, no, they're not. Fat people are denied jobs, proper medical care, health insurance, they're paid less, they don't have equal access to clothing, travel, many public spaces. Even the body mass index, the way that it discriminates against women, especially women of color, it was created for...
Okay, this, I don't know. I'm not... like I've said this before, I'm an idiot. I'm not an expert in science and history and anything, and sociology, any of this, but medical anything. Not an expert at all. I don't agree with the BMI index, and I'm not a fan of it. I think it's ridiculous. Like I said, I don't pass on there, and I'm not saying I guess I'm sure I have fat that I could lose, because like I said, I'm not ripped, so yeah, but I wouldn't want to unless I wanted to exercise to get that, like, whatever ripped look or something. But I don't, because that's way too much work. I'm way too lazy for that. To be fair though, just saying, I did used to be rather big. Like, I was in school, I was much shorter, but had a pretty large midsection. Once I got tall, it all, evened out. But anyway, that I definitely agree with this lady for. The first one that said skinny shaming and fat shaming are the same. I mean, I guess to an extent. Like, either way, you're still making fun of someone for their body. But obviously, fat shaming or bigger people deal with it way more and get it way worse than skinny people. I mean, that's just realistic. But that being said, skinny people that are too skinny, either due to personal reasons or, famine, like their surroundings, i.e. people like in third world countries don't have access to food, clean water, blah blah. That's obvious. That's also very bad. I mean, that's very unhealthy. I don't agree with that either, and I wish we could fix that as well. That's the thing. That's what's tough about the fat thing, because there's a real fine line, and it definitely depends on. It's not something that you can put down that everyone's going to agree on at all. It's not even something that you can put down that, like, two sides will agree on. There's going to be a very big spectrum of what people consider too fat or too skinny or whatever, too tall, too short, too anything. That's why, see, and this is exactly why I say, hello, you beautiful individuals, because it's at the end of the day, it's all everyone is. You're just an individual human being, and you are beautiful, even if you don't like something about yourself. Even if you're an asshole like Matt Walsh, still beautiful. And I mean, to be fair, he's actually a fairly good-looking man, so that's not, that's a fair thing to say. But anyways, let's keep on going.
Based around white men. Like, fat phobia is literally rooted in anti-blackness. It's rooted in racism and sexism. Skinny shaming is not. How many times have you seen marketing campaigns that are labeled, "Get fat quick, finally add those stubborn 30 pounds"? Show me where all the weight gain industries are. Show me all the damaging messages that say that...
I mean, all the weight gain industries, like, you ever heard of fast food? I'm sorry, that's mean.
Skinny equals unworthy life, or skinny equals ugly. When is the last time that you've been penalized financially?
Real quick, skinny equals ugly. I mean, if you get too skinny, at least in my opinion, I don't find that very attractive, like, at all. I definitely prefer a little bit of, a little bit of meat on there. But no, seriously, if you get like that, like, meth head, cracked out, like bone skeleton, skinny look, and you look unhealthy, like if you look unhealthy, that's not going to be attractive to most people. And some it will, but whatever spectrum you fall on, skinny or big or tall or short or whatever other health issues you can categories you want to put on in there, um, if you look unhealthy, you're not going to be as attractive to your species. That has nothing to do with even people. I mean, that's every species. That's how evolution works. Like the survival of the fittest. That's how it goes on this planet. The ones that don't look like they'll really do that well, or the ones that don't do that well due to some physical ailment, normally falls out, and evolution, continues on. Humans are a little different because we obviously, for the most part, we try to include and help everyone. Obviously, that's a whole topic, and we don't do a very good job of, but we do try. Generally, it's just hard. We're very complicated planets. We're one species, but we act as if we're hundreds of different ones. We form very complicated tribes and tribes within tribes and tribes within tribes within tribes, and we all fight and bicker and argue and go against each other. And especially now in today's more modern age, we're kind of circling back to like this idea of if you're not on this side, you're wrong and you don't deserve anything and blah. I don't know. It's why I don't. That's why I don't like that. It's exactly why I don't like going one side or the other. It's just Matt Walsh is too far, in my opinion, on one side, but this lady is also, in my opinion, too far on the opposite side. And to me, it's just not realistic. Everything's a spectrum. I mean, even if you go to talk about like gay or straight or bi or whatever, lesbian, anything, that like your sexual orientation, that's not, you can't, putting a label on it is pretty much pointless. Like, it's a spectrum. If anyone gets messed up enough, drunk or high or whatever enough, they'll pretty much bang anything. I mean, with exceptions, but yeah, it's anyway, let's keep chugging along.
Financially, when an aircraft seat had to be accommodated to your smaller body. When is the last time you've walked into a doctor's office and after they weighed you, stopped listening to what you were actually there for and told you to just gain weight because it will fix everything? Fat people endure all of that.
Okay, there's 100%, like 100%, a fair amount of people out there that their doctors tell them to gain weight. My fiance, actually, pretty much her entirety of growing up, her doctors were telling her that. She was a twig. Like, very, very skinny person, but it's her, genetics. She has a high metabolism, she's taller, and her mom's like that too, exact same way, like super skinny. Obviously, after she had the kid, certain butt and boobs filled out in other areas and stuff, so it doesn't look, or, it's definitely, this is more on the healthy side in my opinion, and in doctors' opinions. But yeah, no, so that's an ignorant thing to say.
And more. Skinny people do not face employment discrimination or medical discrimination. The world was designed for you. Eat a burger is just not comparable to systemic abuse and oppression.
And there's an ad, so 1 second. Okay. So, we're going to listen to Matt's response here, and then we're going to finish it off, because this video is already way too long. I talked too much in the beginning, and I'm sorry for that. Obviously, if you want to watch the original video, it'll be linked below, but let's listen to his reaction.
I mean, she's absolutely right. Fat shaming and skinny shaming are not the same. Because if you're shaming somebody for being skinny, then you're shaming them for a healthy physique, provided that they aren't, rail thin. If you're shaming them for being fat, you're shaming them for being in an unhealthy and destructive physical state. You really shouldn't be walking up to people and shaming.
Now, there. So he is obviously getting ready to say you shouldn't walk up and shame people, which is, yeah, you shouldn't, to be fair. To a certain degree. I mean, if you have an annoying preacher on a train shouting at you about God when he's been told politely to shut up multiple times, like in my one video, yeah, then say whatever you want to, shame him. But anyway, I agree and disagree. Because it depends what he considers fat personally. That's where I don't know. I, like I said, when I start using the word fat, I'm talking like morbidly obese, like, like 4, 5, 600 pounds, even 300 plus in certain cases, depending on the person. How tall they are, their muscle index, all that kind of stuff. That being said, you can definitely tell his bias here. I mean, he glossed over skinny shaming like it was nothing, but that is a thing as well. It really is. It's it's not as common at all, but to call it skinny shaming, saying that's a healthy physique unless you're rail thin, well, that's not true. I mean, it just isn't. There are a lot of skinny people who are not healthy and are also not rail thin, and it's because of their horrible eating habits and lack of exercise. The model industry was a big proponent of this and was really bad about this for a long time. Dancing industry, like ballet and stuff, and plenty of others. I mean, that's just, I don't know. I definitely, I agree and disagree, but anyway.
Shaming them for their appearance in either case, but it is without question worse to shame a good thing than it is to shame a bad thing.
Okay. I mean, so basically saying it's worse to shame skinny people than fat people? I mean, okay. That's ridiculous, but whatever. Look, I'm going to end it there. I won't say too much because for the most part, at least in that first clip, I actually found something we agreed on, and that was interesting. So we're going to stop the video. Once again, you're a great entertainer, great content creator, but disagree with 99% of your content. Either way, I mean, kudos. You've built a very solid channel and a very loyal audience. I gotta give it to you. Man, they are loyal. They have been just going after me. And it's not been that bad. It's not like hundreds and hundreds of comments or nothing, but it's just more comments than I've ever gotten on this channel. So yeah, I love it. Like, it just gives me someone to argue with. But it's just I just want to give kudos where it's due. Like, he's built a fantastic little thing here. But yeah, like, subscribe, comment, all that, and until next time.